a very frequent visitor to Alton Towers, I've learnt a lot over the last few years about how to optimise for the best possible day you can have. Things to do, things to avoid. Not all rides are created equally at the park, and there are definitely rides to avoid. So I want to share those with you here today. The top 5 rides to skip on your next trip. Once you've watched, don't forget to head over to the comments. Let us know if you agree and what rides you avoid when you visit.
5.
In at number 5 is the Splash Battle ride Battle Galleons over in Mutiny Bay. Now the ride itself isn't actually a bad ride, it just plays victim to British weather. On a hot summer's day, it's actually a perfect way to cool down and can be a lot of fun, even if it is a little short. The only problem with Britain is we are short of really nice British days, so a lot of the time you'll see this going around empty. Another sad fact about Battle Galleons is the park hasn't shown it the attention it's deserved over the years, and a lot of the effects have now either been switched off or just don't work anymore. A lot of the theme in certain areas has just rotted away over time as well. Don't get me wrong, the interaction you get with people in the queues, on the other boats or walking around the attraction can be absolutely brilliant and do make this ride a lot of fun. There are whole elements, whole parts of the ride where there's nothing to do. Ultimately, it is a great idea and it's a lot of fun during those really warm summer days. However, the attention to detail from the park just isn't there, and it isn't long enough in my opinion. There are much better examples of this style of ride at other parks. It's a real shame as well because Alton Towers is in need of a really great water ride, and this one just isn't long enough and doesn't have the attention to detail needed to be up there with the greats.
Four.
In at number 4 is Alton Towers' latest attempt at a dart ride, opening over in 2021. It's Gangsta Gran, part of the wonderful world of David Walliams project. I did get to visit this one on opening day, and they did make a little bit of an effort with that to open it up. It was quite a nice little event. However, the ride itself was pretty lacklustre. It is a bit on the short side. It does feel like it is lacking that attention to detail that a truly great dark ride really needs. There's a few areas where a little effect here or there would have made it a much better ride, but it does feel like the money wasn't spent to make this as good as it really could be. It is a shame as well because the current target market for the ride is something Alton Towers doesn't cater to very well, and this ride really doesn't feel like the centre point for a whole new land. In all honesty though, it's not a truly terrible ride at Alton Towers, it's just not living up to its full potential. The reason this ride's on the list is the queue times. Unfortunately, with it being new, it comes with a ridiculously long queue, and I've got to be honest that there's not a lot of enjoyment to be had in this queue at all either. Unfortunately, on a normal day you'll find yourself waiting between an hour and a half to get on this ride, and that's not a queue time that the target demographic are going to be happy to wait. It's such a boring queue. It doesn't have a very good throughput on this ride at all, so I'd say look, if you're with your family, you're looking to do some family rides, avoid this one. Just not going to have the time for it.
3.
In at number 3 is Heave Ho over in Mutiny Bay. This variation of a Zamperla rocking tug was installed back in 2008. And in the time since it's been installed, I think I've ridden it twice. In all honesty, that's 2 more times than I wish I had. In all honesty, none of the rides over in Mutiny Bay are worth writing home about, and I could have included Marauder's Mayhem in this list. However, for me, I've got a lot of nostalgia for that ride, growing up with it. And if I'm honest, I'm just not a fan of any of the rocking tug models at all. Just don't do anything for me at all. There's much better flat rides out there. Alton Towers is in dire need of flat rides at the moment, so I can't see this one going, but I do honestly think they could have put something much better in this area.
2.
In at number 2 is the Blade, the oldest ride at the park, and man, it feels like that. You can definitely tell it may well be ready for retirement. The Blade itself is a classic pirate ship. It was installed in the park way back in 1980, in part of the park that would be known as Fantasy World, before being moved in 1997 over to Forbidden Valley, where it was given a bit of a retheme and renamed as it's known today, the Blade. Now, there's nothing wrong with a classic pirate ship. They're actually one of my favourite types of flat ride. They're brilliant for families, and I've got to be honest, Alton Towers would feel really weird without one. However, the Blade itself is very old, and it's definitely looking its age. Definitely needs either a lot of work doing to bring it up to its best, or it needs moving on. It's going to be sitting in a part of the park that's going to be hard to find a lot of appeal to go and visit this year, with Nemesis being closed. I just don't think the appeal really of the Blade and Galactica is going to get a lot of people down that part of the park. Now, the Blade is actually one of a very small number of permanent flat rides at the park, so I can't see it going anywhere until it really is no longer a viable option, and I can't see them taking it down for a season to get it back to its best, which is a shame. With Nemesis being closed, it would have been a really good idea to have closed this one, got it all back to its best, and you've got the 2 rides looking perfect for 2024. Now, I do feel I've been a bit mean with this top 5. They're not all terrible rides, and it's just certain things that don't make them great options this season. However, I have deliberately missed out the Retro Squad rides. Done that because Alton Towers doesn't actually own those rides, and they are temporary flat rides as well. Just like to let you know, if I was including them all on there, they would all be in this top 5 for sure. They're very lacklustre, funfair rides. However, in at number 1, I think this is totally deserved.
1.
In at number 1, and I make no secret about my disdain for this ride, it's the Congo River Rapids over in Katanga Canyon. Sadly, this one suffers a similar fate to a lot of the Rapids rides found at all the theme parks over the UK, and that's that really they're no longer Rapids at all, they're more like gentle river rides. The majority of these rides across the UK have had most of their effects turned off now, so like I say, very peaceful rides, and not the kind of ride you're signing up for when you read River Rapids, unfortunately. However, where other parks with this same issue of thought ahead try to include more theming, make it a bit more of an interesting ride, Alton Towers just haven't kept up, unfortunately. As such, this ride really doesn't have anything apart from the fact that you can put your feet up for 10 minutes as you go round on a boat. However, queue times on a hot day usually mean that's no fun either. Ultimately, the land this ride takes up could be used to much better effects for something else. I'm hoping in the future that's what Alton Towers do. So that's our top 5 rides to avoid this season at Alton Towers. Let us know in the comments below if you agree or you've got some other rides to avoid instead. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon.